it. Because the way God made us, and we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and it's a wonderful thing that we have, but sometimes it can go too far. That our tendency is to adapt and to cope naturally, and so our first
To
thought is
discount.
to discount and yeah. So our first thought is, well, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really go that far.
Mm-mm.
He only hit me once,
Right.
or I don't even have a bruise or anything from it.
Mm-hmm.
Or he said that thing that was awful to me, but you know what? He just says things
It's
like
just in
that,
a
or
heat of
she
passion.
just
He
that's
was
just the way she
mad.
is.
Mm-hmm.
When the reality is that this person who lashed out at you, whether it was physically, verbally, mentally, whatever, has a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and they're imposing their problem upon you. I'll never forget driving in the car, and stopped at a stoplight, and was having an argument with my ex-wife. And right in the car, as I'm holding the wheel, waiting for the light to turn green, she punches me in the face.
Dear Lord.
Now, I was so shocked that I didn't respond. I was just like, what is wrong with you? Punched me in the face. I mean, I was facing forward, so she hit the side of my face, but still, um, I didn't retaliate, but it threw me, and so yeah, I've been a victim, and by the grace of God, I didn't retaliate. I can't tell you that there wasn't something in me that wanted to turn around and fight back. That's the natural human tendency, which is normal to want to fight back, but I didn't. The main thing here is to understand that, and to put it in perspective. Let me say it like this.
I want to read a thing apart from the book when you're done.
Okay.
Okay.
People who go through violence regularly have to not only go through counseling, sometimes have to take medication.
Because their mind is so.
On a grand governmental scale, they call it PTSD. Soldiers get benefits for life for having to deal with extreme situations of violence, not even happening to them, just happening around them.
Mm.
So if you've been a victim of violence, you need help today. Go get it.
And it's not any light matter.
No, not at
We've
all.
both lived it. We've both been through it. By the grace of God, we've come out on the other side of it. Even in our relationship, we still have to endure certain things because of the things that come out of you. When you're in a healthy relationship, all of those things will begin to surface.
Oh yeah.
You still have to address them, even if you've gone through counseling, because love starts to heal and cleanse, right? So you still have to face what, you know, the majority of the first part of our relationship, I guess, kept at, are you real?
Yeah.
And it was because my system had been conditioned to only accept what was toxic to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole nother scope. We'll talk about that later. But let's move on to one of the ending quotes from the chapter, 3 Signs He's Not a Grown Man. Any man who exhibits any one of the above characteristics is not ready for a healthy relationship, regardless of how charming, fine, sexy, or wealthy he is, ladies, or how badly he wants you. And if he demonstrates 2 or more of these characteristics, run. Don't walk, run. He is likely a drama king. More on him or his counterpart, the drama queen, in a later chapter, which is the next chapter we're going to talk about, and should be avoided at all costs. If he resists and or resents your efforts to learn about his habits, character, track record, and behavioral tendencies, keep it moving. Don't get emotionally invested in trying to solve the mystery. Allow him to continue on his journey of personal growth or not. That's up to him, while you do the same, keeping your options open for when you recognize a man who is indeed grown. That was from chapter 3 of the Grown Zone, loving in the Grown Zone. So, chapter 4, 3 signs that she's not a grown woman. So we'll go over the 3 real quick and then we'll talk about it. First one, she measures her self-esteem by the length of her hair, the depth of her cleavage, and the breadth of her butt.
Yeah.
I had it, bro. She confuses being wanted and desired with being valued and loved. And 3, she feels incomplete and or, hey, hi Zara, how you doing? We're talking about your book. Thanks for joining. She feels incomplete and or inadequate when she's not in a relationship, any relationship. Look, we love this. I hope you'll go back and listen to the beginning. We were having a little bit of fun. This is our first scope as a couple. So we're going over chapters 3 and 4, and we're going over the 3 points that you all listed. And just talking about our own personal experiences. We've come through so much. So let's go back through.
Can I start, please? Please?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm serious. The first one, she measures her self-esteem by her physical attributes. Man, we could stay here at this part all day. I know so many women that measure their self-esteem by if their nails are done, or if they've got the latest fashion on, or what car they drive, or what men are chasing them, or I've had him, or I've had her, it is unreal. And it took me a while to recognize it, but once I recognized it, it was just I didn't date for over a year, because it seemed like everywhere I turned there was a woman with huge deficiencies in terms of what her self-esteem was, based upon her job, or based upon,
thanks for inviting your followers.
It was unreal. And unfortunately, that's I'm sure that's partly the media's fault, and commercials and things like that, but the truth is somebody should have told these women from get-go, hey, you're beautiful. You may be different than what's on the TV screen, but you're still beautiful. There's still parts of you on the inside that are beautiful. They have nothing to do with your outside. And I remember telling my daughters, because we're Seventh-day Adventist Christians, and most Seventh-day Adventists don't wear jewelry or makeup. But I told my children that there's nothing in the Bible that says you can't wear it, but here's what Daddy says.
You got to take the Bible for the words that are in it, and not go beyond it, because then when you go beyond it, it's a completely different thing. We have to do a scope on that.
Right.
I know that's something that we're working on too.
And
right?
that's a pivotal thing for me.
Yes,
But this is what I told my daughters. I told them, I said, look.
Hi, Rochelle. Thanks for joining.
There's nothing in the Bible that says you can't wear it. But here's what's important. You can wear it. Daddy says you can wear it when you're more beautiful on the inside than on the outside.
Come on now. Tell them.
So you focus on that. You show Daddy how beautiful you are on the inside, and then I'll be glad to let you wear whatever you want to wear on the outside. Well, not whatever, but, within reason.
So,
I'm sorry I took so long. Go ahead.
No. That was good. That was great. I personally have never had that problem, because I come small packaged. So, it's always been...
Ciao, Bella. Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to thank you for joining us, Rochelle. I wanted you to talk about, because we both come with insecurities. We both came to this relationship with insecurities, and I wanted to preface that by saying, there's a certain amount of, you need to get that. Yeah, you need to get that. Go on ahead and get that.
Right.
Duty calls. We're both coaches, so he is also Councilman Hastings, District 2 for our district. He is his personal assistant, so that was the councilman calling. So when the councilman calls, he's got to go. Thank you, Zara. This book has done so much for us, and we're only on chapter 4, but we are loving it. And the conversation, the quality of conversation that we have is so real. So I wanted him to talk about the fact that I know I have come with a lot of insecurities, and one of my issues that I had in previous relationships was that insecurities were played on. My insecurities were taken and they were just crushed. So it's not that you cannot come into a healthy relationship having things that you still need to work on. It's the fact that you have people that understand what is actually needed and necessary for the quality of the relationship that you desire, and then having two people work together to accomplish that wholeness together. It's a challenge.
But that's why it's so important to recognize from the beginning whether that person is grown or not. Because if they're not grown, then it's much more likely, it's 1,000 times more likely that they will not only see your deficiencies, they will manipulate you using those deficiencies to control you, because in their minds, this is all about control. And the more control I have over you, then the better I feel about myself. And therefore I can continue to ignore my own deficiencies because look at me, I got control over her.
Right, right.
So please go ahead.
That was it.
Okay.
I wanted you to talk about the fact that we both had insecurities and how
Yeah.
you can still be functional, but there are certain insecurities that you really just cannot. Okay, thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Safe travels. But you still can come in. There are just certain insecurities that you should not have inside a relationship.
Okay. Well, I'll start.
Okay.
People who know me know that I was adopted. My birth mother died 4 days after I was born. And because of the way that the laws were back in that time, although my grandparents wanted to adopt me, the government agencies wouldn't allow them. So I actually was in an orphanage for 8 months before I was adopted by my current mother, who I love very much and thank her so much. She completely changed my life. But because of that, I didn't even realize that I developed some abandonment issues where without even recognizing it or being able to quantify it, was so afraid of being abandoned that I was willing to do whatever just to keep things together and keep that person with me.
Right.
I stayed married for so long because of that. I was married for 14 years when I probably shouldn't have been. And I gained well over 100 pounds during my marriage because of additional.
Look, you gained, I lost.
Wow. Can you take some of mine, please?
I told you we're like the perfect person. You give me.
You can have.
Look.
I'm gonna give you more than you want, though. Anyway, so yeah, because that one thing led to other issues, including codependency, and I had a woman hit me as I said earlier, I had a woman hit me in the face, and we stayed together without going to counseling. We tried counseling several times. Within 30 days, she would quit and didn't want to go back. And
it's the same with my ex-husband. He would do something for 30 days and then it would just fall off. And so 30 days is not the gauge. We want to dispel that myth.
Right.
We believe that 30 days is habit forming, but that is dependent on the fact that you continue past the 30 days because you are committed to the result, not just committed to say, oh, I'm going to do it. And then, because you just saying that you're going to do it is not a mental commitment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Commitment to growth. It's like the kids who actually go to school but don't really focus on learning anything in school. Then you're wasting your time and everyone else's. But
Please
anyway,
share with your followers. We want to share this message. This also helps to build awareness about the power of loving in the grown zone. Alfred Edmond Jr. and Zara Green's book, the mission and the ministry that they are actually in. We love everything that we're doing, that they are doing, and this book has just impacted us in such a huge way, which is why we want to take the time to share this information and our personal discussions with you. We are completely transparent. There's nothing we have rehearsed. This is all off the cuff.
right.
So make sure you share and invite your followers, and then join us.
Okay.
So what was the next one?
Well, we had two others.
There was two others.
One was about her looks. The other one was about.
Okay. My thing. I need to charge my phone. It's at 8%.
Okay.
I should have put it up on the. Oh, no, I have it.
Yeah, I should have also, but that's okay. That's
So it's gonna take us a minute because my phone is like.
Very low. Okay. So
That was just the first one was looks.
yes, she values being wanted and desired more than being valued and loved. Man, ran into that also, where just because men were chasing them, they took that for some reason as love, and someone who was actually loving them, like I was attempting to the best of my ability, was despised. They saw that as weakness.
As a weakness.
And which was really strange to me.
Exploit.
Oh yeah, and did exploit it. And so there was always some dude coming around. There was always some, well, it's just a friend, and we're just hanging out, and always something like that. And it took a while to understand that all she really wants is just somebody to desire her and want her. She doesn't really want to be
not
loved
a quality
and
of a
valued.
relationship.
And so
It's the base roots of drama.
right, there's a deficiency there that needs to be addressed, and it wasn't being addressed. So that was point two. You want to talk about that, or you want to go on to point
Nope,
three?
I think you did great. Point three, she feels incomplete and or inadequate when she's not in a relationship or any relationship.